meeting. I am your sergeant at arms for this evening. And if you are a first time guest, you guys are in for a treat, man. You guys are about to see some amazing presenters. You about to see some live energy. You about to see a group of people that love what we do. So I hope you guys sit back and just enjoy the meeting. We also encourage you, if you are a guest, to participate throughout the meeting as well. It will help. But before we get involved in the meeting, we are club number 979269. And I want to go over some quick housekeeping rules for everyone. If you are not speaking, we ask that you keep your line muted. That way there's no background noise. Also, we want to see everybody's face. But if you have to walk around, we ask that you please block out your camera so that way there's no visual distractions either. But like I said, guys, you are about to have an amazing opportunity with the best club in the United States. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and participate. At this particular time, I'm going to turn it over to our amazing president, Ms. Natasha Brown.
Good evening, Toastmasters, future Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. Thank you so much, Dom, for that introduction, and thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. How are we? How are we? I see some thumbs up. I see some snaps. I see another thumb up, two thumbs up, and they moving. I see smiles. Thank you, Corinne. Snaps. Can I have some voices? Someone want to come off mute? Give me some live action.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Yes.
I'm doing wonderful.
Hello, Madam President.
Told me looks for this evening, but I can't tell it tonight because y'all all look wonderful. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So I am excited for this evening. We have a jam-packed evening tonight. We have an icebreaker speech, and we have two other prepared speeches. Oh my goodness! And then we have table topics. We also have some distinguished guests in the house because we have some contestants from our Area 23 contest. And I want us to come off you and show them some love. Show them some love.
Yay!
All right. Yes. Awesome job.
Congrats, guys. Good
Bring
job.
home the trophies.
Yes, indeed.
Awesome. Yes.
All right. I had to show you all that because they represented us so well at the competition on Sunday. And so did all of you that came in to watch. The support was real. I saw it in the chat, and not just for Morgan State, but for everyone. We show the love because we are love, and I love the way that you all represented each other and yourselves. So thank you again. Congratulations to the contestants. Please come on March the 6th so that we can continue to support them as they move on to the division contest. All right, now speaking about moving on, we are going to, oh, wait a minute. Do we have any guests in the room tonight? Let me see. Do we have any guests in the room? I see something called
Yes, we do. Corinne.
Corinne, and then you want to come off mute. Corinne, how are you, ma'am?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
So happy that you are here. Thank you so much. We are happy that you are here, and we have a great meeting for you today. Well, everybody today. Okay, and I'm going to pass the meeting on to our Toastmaster of the evening, Miss Arisa Pleasant.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Welcome guests, Facebook Live. Good evening. It is my pleasure and my honor to be your Toastmaster of the evening. And I chose this particular Monday because I wanted to be Toastmaster of the day during Black History Month. And there is so much rich history. And sometimes we just don't know everything. So what the theme tonight, the theme is, did you know? And so instead of asking you all to just give something, if you want to, you can. But I did some research, and I picked 6 to 7 trivia, like actually something I think you may want to know. Some of you may know, some of you may not want to know. So I'm going to weave portions of it throughout tonight's meeting. And so before we get started, I would like to introduce our calendar and grammarian. That will be our president, Natasha Brown. You will be filling in for Dr. Reeves tonight, or will Dr. Reeves be serving the role. Okay, Dr. Reeves. All right, there you are. Okay.
Dr. Kimberly Reeves, and I'll be your accountant and grammarian tonight.
All right.
Reporting on any filler words, any grammatical errors. And tonight's word of the day is kismet, which means destiny or fate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Reeves. Okay, and next we have our timer. Our timer will be Ryan Dunson. Ryan, could you give us, just give us how many minutes our icebreaker and our other two speeches and our tabletop evaluator.
Absolutely. How you guys doing today? Hopefully I don't sound too crazy. I know the sound in here can get a little nuts, but I'm your town. I'm hello Toastmasters, future Toastmasters and distinguished guests. I'm trying my best to settle down, so bear with me. I hope all is well with you guys today. I'll be your timer. My name is Ryan Dunston. Hopefully you guys will remember to pin me when you're doing your speeches, because the first icebreaker speech, correct me if I'm wrong, is 4 to 6 minutes. And the other speech is going to be 5 to 7 minutes long. We're going to have 3 different indications for time. So once you get to the beginning for the icebreaker, once you get to the 4th minute, I'm going to show up green here for your time being met, and then I'm going to show you yellow, which is going to be my biplex complex here, which will tell you that you're in the middle there. So from 4 to 6 minutes, that'll be at the 5-minute mark, and then at your 6-minute mark, I'm going to show a parking ticket here, which will be the color red. Same thing for the 5 to 7 minute. That'll be the same. So for the 5th minute, I'll show the green, and then for the 6th minute, I'll show the yellow, and then for the 7th minute, I'll go ahead and show the red. Hopefully, I got all of that correct while I'm on the road here, but if I didn't, please let me know what I got wrong. Thanks.
You were fine. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you so much. Okay, well, before I introduce the first speaker, I would like to share with you all the first trivia. Now, the question I would ask is, why is Black History Month in February, and how did it begin? When Negro History Week was first initiated on February 7th, 1926 by historian and author Carter G. Woodson. It was celebrated originally for 1 week, which was the second week in February, and it was chosen between February 12th, which is Abraham Lincoln's birthday, and February 20th, which is Frederick Douglass' birthday, which both dates were celebrated in the Black community since the late 19th century. Woodson and other prominent African-American figures thought it would be a great idea to celebrate the achievements of African-Americans who shaped American history, celebrated during Black History Month. And that's when it led into Black History Month, which first took place at Kent State University in 1969. And since 1976, under President Gerald Ford, every US president has officially designated February as Black History Month. And so this month actually takes on a special day because on August 18th, 2020 celebrates the 100th anniversary. 1920 celebrates the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which granted women the right to vote, and the 150th anniversary of the 15th Amendment on February 3rd, 1870, which granted men the right to vote. And that's why it's so important for us to take advantage of our rights, because our forefathers fought for the right that we have today, and we should not take any of this for granted. And so with that, I will be introducing our first speaker of this evening. Okay. Is our icebreaker here yet? If not, I'm going to move on to speaker number 2.
Teresa, you can go ahead and go with.
All right. Okay. Our second speaker, Miss Eva, wanted to bring the Wizard of Oz into the 20th century and show us how Dorothy and the crew made it back home. Miss Eva Colbert will be speaking for 5 to 7 minutes. Her project is Path Level 2. The current path is Engaging Humor. Her project title actually she will be connecting with the audience. That is going to be the purpose of the project, is to begin developing a collection of humorous stories and to present a speech that includes humor. And so the title of Miss Eva's speech is My Oz Journey. Miss Eva, please give us your speech and make us laugh.
Ooh, I almost didn't make it here this evening, rushing from work, and I'm driving, and all of a sudden, I must have accidentally cut off the driver next to me. And she gave me the finger. And I said, oh my, let me catch up with her at the next light to let her know that I didn't mean to cut her off. It was an accident, and I did. And as some of you know, I have a little arthritis, so my finger got a little jammed as I was trying to explain to her my bag. I'm sorry. Good evening, Toastmasters, future Toastmasters, guests, and friends. Follow the yellow brick road. Oh my. Follow the yellow brick road. Say it with me. Follow the yellow brick road. Oh my. My Oz journey. Some of you may have heard that song before. It comes from The Wizard of Oz, one of my favorite pictures. Let me set the scene for you. Dorothy texted me one night and said, Eva, I need your help. I want to go back home to Kansas. I miss Annie Ann and my uncles. I don't sleep with a phone in my room, so I went downstairs to answer it because it came through my Fitbit. I said, what's going on? She said, I want to go back home and I need your help. Take me to, get me back home. And I said, okay. Do you know what time it is? I said, it's midnight. And wait a minute, where are you? She replied, I'm at Owens Mills. Stop. I said, what? Owens Mills? Girl, I live on the east side. It's going to take me about 30 minutes to get to Owens Mills. You know what? Just stay there. Don't talk to nobody. Don't go anywhere. Just stay there. It's going to take me a minute to get to you. I traveled up there, and there's Dorothy and Toto. You get in the car, and she decides to roll down the window. And when she did that, Toto decided to jump out the window. She said, oh, Toto, come back. I say, baby, we don't have time for Toto. We have to get to BWI. There is no more hot air balloon. But I can't leave Toto. I said, you know what? I really don't care for those. I'll give you 2 minutes to go and find Toto and come back. She comes back, but she wasn't alone. She had 3 other guests with her. I said, well, where are they going? They're not going. They're my friends. I just met them. I said, didn't I tell you not to talk to anybody? I said, they getting in my car, my brand new Envision. I said, but you know what? Let me tell them right now. I just received my HQL license about 2 months ago. And with that, I just received a nice small handgun. So let's roll. I said, we will not be going in the hot air balloon. We're going to BWI. We journey on. And I say that to say, all of us are in need of something. Dorothy wanted to get back home to Kansas. And her 3 friends, the Scarecrow, he needed something as well. He just wanted some knowledge, a brain. Think about it. We all need knowledge. That's where we go to school to continue our education. When my son was young, I would help him with his homework. He was about in the 5th grade. And my daughter would catch me, Mom, are you still doing his homework for him? No, honey, all of us want our kids to learn. She said, he's in there playing the game while you're doing his homework. I said, get in here. Now he's a grown man and he's smarter than a 5th grader. Then we have the 10 man, just need a heart. All of us need love someone to love. We just finished Valentine's Day. I don't know about you. Maybe your husband or your spouse or boo asked you what you want. Mine do. And I said, usually I would say nothing. But he better not come in that house without roses and some chocolate. And that's what I delight in. But ladies, when your boo asks you, just say, oh, and if he forgot, just say, honey, just give me your card. Just go online and buy whatever you want. Swipe it or whatever. He won't forget again. Then we have the lion. Now, he's supposed to be the king of the jungle. All the mouth, roaring and rah, rah, rah. This particular lion, if you booed at him, he'd grab his tail and start crying. How many of you have ever found yourself not having enough courage to stand up to something or someone? I like Maxine Waters when she says, Mr. President, I yield back my time. That means I'm finished, or what I had to say. Then I like John Lewis when he says, if I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to get in good trouble. And I say that to say, follow the yellow brick road, because all they wanted to do was to get back home. They clicked their heels and said, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Eva. Thank you for just sharing your modern day Wizard of Oz story with us today. And I remember when you gave this speech, and I could see where you weaved in some new portions of your speech. So thank you so much for sharing with us this evening.
Put your mic on.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for sharing with us this evening. Thank you. Okay. And before we go to our second speaker, I will be sharing with you all a little bit about Nancy Leggins Cosley. Now, she was the first African-American female slave freed by lawyer Abraham Lincoln long before his presidency. Now, her grave was paved over by the city and her story hardly known. Now, her story was unknown until the mid-1990s. She was born in 1813, and at the age of 14, she was sold for $151, but did not leave the slave owner quietly. And so Nance managed to have her case appealed by the Illinois Supreme Court 3 times before Lincoln successfully argued for her freedom. And so later he signed into law that neither slave nor involuntary servitude shall exist in the state of Illinois and later in the entire United States and its territories. So if you want to read further about Nance Leggins Cosley, the historian Carl Adams wrote a book in 2016 called Nance Trials of the First Slave Freed by Abraham Lincoln. So I just thought that was interesting to know. And so next we will go into our second speaker, which will be Mr. Dominique Staton, AKA Dom. Okay, he is currently working in current path called motivational speaking. And this is his third path. He will be working project number 4. The time is 5 to 7 minutes. And the title of Dom's speech is Delayed Promises. Now, the goal of his speech is to connect with the audience through storytelling. His goal is to motivate others to achieve their goals by showing the importance of having continued belief and faith while staying focused on the target at hand. The title of Dom's speech is Delayed Promises. Dom.
Ask yourself this question. Has my disbelief, lack of faith, been the reason why my promises has been delayed? Toastmasters, future Toastmasters and guests, good evening. People always say, what God has for me is for me. Yes, that's true. But have you ever sit back and thought about, what if what God has for you, he has for you right now? But because you're not ready for it, he can't give it to you. Let me share a quick story with you all about how a group of people had a promise for them, but because of their disbelief, it took them 40 years to get it. See, in the book of Exodus, there was a man named Moses. And Moses was called by God to help free his people from slavery. He also was called by God to help deliver those same people to a promised land filled with milk and honey. Now, the trip was only supposed to be less than 40 days, but ended up taking them 40 years. How can something, a promise that should have been less than 40 days, but took you 40 years to receive it? How is that possible? See, the entire time these people were traveling to the promised land, they became distracted. They started focusing on other gods. They started to doubt God himself. They did not believe that God would provide food, water, or protection for them during their journey. It got so bad at times for the people traveling to the promised land that their disbelief was so bad that they would have rather had went back to be slaves. They questioned themselves of being free, as if being a slave was better off. So because of their disbelief and lack of faith throughout their journey, God allowed them to wander in the wilderness for 40 years. And the terrifying thing about this story is that even when they reached the promised land 40 years later, some of them were afraid to go in. Some of them still had doubts on why they should enter into the promised land. So I ask you all here today, why are your promises being delayed? Do you operate out of fear, disbelief, a lack of faith? Are you holding back that promise that God could give you that blessing today, but because you are not who you need to be, he's making you wait for it? Are you acting like the people in the book of Exodus where they just refuse to get out their own way? Or are you the reason why you keep falling and failing and missing out on your blessings? I want to share with you all 3 things that can help you to stop yourself from delaying your promises. The first thing, you want to focus on your belief. See, when you don't believe, you're going to wander. It might not take you 40 years, but until you believe that you deserve it, you're never going to get it. I heard a saying one time, somebody said, 1% doubt and you're out. You got to believe 100% that that promise is destined for you. The second thing, trust the process. You have to understand that there are certain things you have to go through. There will be tests along the way that's going to test your faith, test your character, but you got to keep going and trust the process. See, the people in the story, they didn't trust the process. They knew who God was, but they doubted every step of the way. The third thing I want to leave with you all is Stay connected to the source. See, my source is God. So I know that when I'm connected to the source, I'm focused. When I'm connected to the source, my belief can't be shaken. When you're connected to the source, you have a guide in which way to go. See, those people in the book of Exodus, they wasn't focused on the source because God was with them the entire time, leading them throughout the way. So remember this. Have the belief that you need, never doubt the process, and stay connected to the source. And understand this, that a delayed promise does not mean denied. Thank you, Toastmasters.
Thank you, Dom. Wow, that was awesome. Awesome speech. I love how you crafted your speech and entailed a biblical story in with it, and you just shared personal stories. So thank you so much for that. And I'm sure we can take these 3 points and apply it to our life. Thank you. All right. Okay, our next trivia fact is, actually, I was watching the news. I'm a news buff. And I heard that this year was the Congressional Black Caucus 50th anniversary this year. And so this caucus was established in 1971 to put forth policy and legislation that ensured equal rights, opportunity, and access to Black Americans and other marginalized communities. So it's a nonpartisan body made up of African-American members of Congress. The Congressional Black Caucus was created during the high point of the Black Power movement, when African-Americans wanted greater political influence and were gaining more seats in Congress. And in 1971, President Nixon refused to meet with them, which drew a lot of media attention. And so he finally met with the caucus. So they presented 61 recommendations to eradicate racism, provide quality housing, and promote engagement of African Americans in government. So when you see them meeting in that infamous photo, there's a photo that you would see Shirley Chisholm sitting at that table. And she was the first African American woman in Congress. And so we have rich history, everyone. We may not be recognized all the time, but like I said, we are rewarded no matter what, no matter who sees it, no matter who recognizes, we know what we did and what we contributed to this country. And so now I'm going to go to our third speaker, which is our icebreaker. I saw her in the room. Tabitha is there. Okay, Tabitha, I did not get your intro, but I see you are presenting your icebreaker this evening. And so before you speak, I'm just going to say a little something. Even though I didn't get your icebreaker in my email, but you will be getting, that's okay. What is your title? What is your title?
Okay, so the title of my speech is Yellow Brick Roads and the Concrete Jungle.
Okay, all right. Well, before you actually tap the speech, is going to be 4 to 6 minutes. We are looking forward to hearing your icebreaker this evening. This project marks the beginning of your Toastmaster journey. So it is an opportunity for you to introduce yourself to our group and share something about yourself, whatever you want to share. And so with that, we're going to introduce you, and you're going to be speaking for 4 to 6 minutes. All right, the floor is yours. And you can take a look at your timer. The timer will be before you, and you can just, when you get to 4 minutes, then you'll see the green. Okay, all right.
Gotcha. So I'm going to skip the intro part, if that's okay.
Yes.
Because I'm introducing myself to you now. Okay. Maestro, hit it. Greeting, Toastmaster, future Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. My name is Tabitha Anderson. Welcome to my Ice Baby icebreaker speech. Okay, so I want to ask you all a quick question. Do you all remember Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz? Well, in case you were born yesterday, I'm going to give you all a brief synopsis. You see, Dorothy was a teenager in Kansas City when one day her house spun in a tornado out of Kansas, landed on a wicked witch of the East. Now, she died, right? So Dorothy was out of Kansas and she needed to get home. And the only way she could do that was if she traveled on the yellow brick road to the Wizard of Oz, who will grant her 3 wishes, allowing her to get home. All on one condition, that she killed a wicked witch of the West. Now, essentially, Dorothy did not think she could do this because, for one, she's a teenager. 2, that's murder. But she needed to get home, so she obliged. Now, you all may be saying, what does this have to do with Tabitha? Bear with me. Dorothy went on this journey. She met 3 very important people. She met the Scarecrow, who gave her knowledge and wisdom. She met the Tin Man, who taught her compassion. Then she met the Cowardly Lion, who actually ended up having some courage. In the end, Dorothy killed the Wicked Witch of the West and made it home. She clicked her heels 3 times, saw the wizard, it was done. Dorothy and I, we're very similar. You see, there was a time in my life where I too found myself out of Kansas City, and so did Toto. So, in this time of my life, I also was a teen like Dorothy. I too, because I was a teen, I too was a single mom. And because I was a mother, that did not seem fitting to those around me. And I found myself without a home. This was a very tough time in my life. And about 1.5 years into this, I got a job at the Wall Street Journal as a data analyst, making a significant amount of money for my age. When the counselor at the shelter found out about this, she felt that I was making way too much money, and she told me that I had to leave. Now, I argued with her that I was just a contractor and I could get fired tomorrow, today, any minute. This was not stable. She did not take that into consideration. She gave me 2 weeks to leave. And in exactly 2 weeks flat, I found my first apartment. And exactly a month later, I also found myself unemployed. My contract had ended, and immediately knowledge and wisdom had to kick in. I immediately became my own hairstylist. Hi. And I had to learn how to budget. I had to learn how to budget food stamps and unemployment in New York City, where the cost of living is through the roof. I had to pinch every dollar. But because of this, I learned how to use money how it's intended. I learned that money is a tool to invest, not to spend. Build an emergency fund. I also gained compassion for those in similar situations like me, and was recently granted the opportunity through United Way to speak and mentor to young girls going through similar trials as mine. I am not a single mom. I'm a super mom, okay? And because of this, I give peers my age advice, like maybe that one is for you. You might want to stop that. Or that one has a really good talent. You should help cultivate that. God saw that I was faithful with the little and made me a ruler of much. And on December 31st, in a pandemic, while having COVID-19, on oxygen, struggling to breathe for 4 days in a hospital, he made me a homeowner. So I just want to encourage anyone in this, listening to this story today, that when you have trials and tribulations, these obstacles, baby, take them as lessons. You will be okay. Get compassion for those in your community and learn how to have courage. Fight it all through the fear. Because I promise you, your inner Dorothy, she's counting on it. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Oh, my goodness. Your speech left me speechless. Oh my goodness. If you wouldn't have told us that this was your icebreaker, I would not have believed it for 1 minute. But we commend you for your courage and the obstacles that you have faced. Oh my goodness. We are so proud of you. Thank you, Tabitha, for just sharing your story and being transparent with us this evening. All right. And you have heard 3 amazing speakers, everybody. This is what Toastmasters do. We grow, we learn from each other, and this is just part of it. This is just part of the meeting here to this evening. But before I turn the meeting back over to our next portion, our table topics master, I'd like to share with you one more Black History trivia fact. Did you know? Recently, I just heard almost 2 weeks ago, the Tuskegee Airmen, we lost the last airman. His name was Robert Holtz, and he was the last known member of the 922 trained pilots to transition on February 12th, 2021. The Tuskegee Airmen were a celebrated group of Black pilots and support staff that fought in a dedicated unit during World War II because of the nation's segregation laws. Now, Robert Holt was 96 years young when he passed. Now, even though it's been 70 years since he ended his military service, he'll be forever part of the group of the World War II pilots and support staff who broke color barriers in the 1940s. And so after the World War II ended, Holtz worked as a postal worker in Detroit before retiring in Omaha. All right. Okay. And so our next segment is the Table Topics Master. Now this will give our guests or anyone who wants to volunteer who has not spoken yet on the agenda, just to give you a chance to just practice impromptu speaking and then tell us a little bit more about that. I will be introducing Miss Juliet Jones, our contest winner here. We have a contest winner, everybody. So she will be leading our table topics portion. We're ready for you, Juliet.
Good evening, Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. It's my first time saying that. Okay. I hope you guys are doing well this evening. I'm glad to see everybody. So I will be doing table topics tonight, and today's table topics subject is about personal growth. Personal growth is something that I truly believe in. I've made it a life's goal, meaning it's something that I work on all the time. I work on every day for myself. I believe that it's how we develop as individuals and to become the best versions of ourselves. So I would like to have 4 volunteers, and you can put your name in the chat, or you can take yourself off of mute and volunteer. Okay, I have Olio, Angela, Robert. I need 1 more volunteer. 1 more. Okay, I'm gonna start picking people. Okay, me, Toastmaster. Okay.
Oh, sorry, that's me, Natasha.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was Rose. Okay. All right, so I got 4 volunteers, and someone's mentioned in the chat that our topics, our speeches kind of meshed together tonight, and I was thinking exactly the same thing. Dom spoke, his speech I felt like it's tied to personal growth, because to have faith and to see your faith increase requires you to grow, right, as an individual. So I thought that was a great segue into table topics, as well as Tabitha's speech. She grew as an individual. She faced a lot of obstacles, but it caused her to grow as a person and become a stronger person. So I'm loving how our topics, our speeches are kind of all coming together full circle. So let's start with Olio. First question. Can you name a time that you're willing to share, of course, where you recognize your personal growth. You're still on mute, Olio. There we go.
All right. Can you repeat the question, please? I'm
Sure.
setting up my
No problem.
laptop.
And remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes to answer the questions. Can you name a time you are willing to share where you recognized your own personal growth?
Absolutely. The timer just isn't popping up for me. That's weird. Just trying to make sure.
Ryan, he's there. There he is.
All right, here you go. Just trying to hang on. Sorry, forgive my computers. All right. I'm just gonna have to do it because our computer is not pulling. I can't type nothing for some reason, so I'm just gonna time it. All right. All right. I'm sorry. And you said, can I name a time when I knew I was doing some personal growth?
Yep. You recognize your own personal growth.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I recognize a time when I recognize my own personal growth? Absolutely. And I'll give you one of my most impactful times I recognized I was growing. It was when I had a conversation with my mother, and we were talking about just how, so the backstory, the conversations that I've usually had with my mother, we haven't had a close relationship for about 10 years. It hurts my heart, and it's just ways how we were growing up. So I felt like I had a bad view of my mother, and I felt like she was the most negative person in my life. And that was my view of her. Although things may have happened, I had to learn how to first understand that, she was a child trying to raise a child. And even when she was raising my brother, who's 10 years my senior, and the views that I have of her, that they also started clouding my judgment and making it so that every time we would have a communication or interaction, it would always be one that was not a very pleasant one. And I recognized when I was having growth where I've been working on myself from reading books, going to different organizations, different meetings, just like this Toastmasters that I'm having with y'all. So that's why y'all give me value, and a lot of other things to work myself to say, how can you start looking at people for who they can be and not as you see them? And start looking at people as, now that you start looking at the good and stop focusing on the bad. And it wasn't until I was finally able to start seeing the greatness in her, the greatness in the woman that she is, that I finally was able to talk to her. And even when she said those things before that usually would make me have a bad encounter with her, I started looking at them with a different optimistic eye. I started hearing words like, I'm pissed off, and I seen it more as, I just have love for you, and I'm just frustrated because now I can't share it with you as much. So I noticed I was having the most growth, but finally now I can have conversations at any time and start seeing where I can add value and how she's added value to me. Thank you.
Awesome. That was awesome, Olio. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Next person, Angela.
Yes, I'm here.
Angela, I'm sorry, my daughter is thinking I'm calling her because her name is Angela too.
Wonderful name.
I'm not calling you. Sorry about that. Name an area in your life and or personal trait or characteristic that you've seen personal growth in.
Good evening, Toastmaster, future Toastmaster, and guests. Name a time where I am grown personally. My main goal, really, where I see my major growth is my spirituality. Me growing in that area, one particular area, I used to feel like I was not capable of achieving. And that is, I'm a Bible studies teacher. And I would teach the youth, the kids, but I would not do the women, because at one time thought that I could not teach them anything because one, they were older than me, and I was thinking of age as far as the number on 1 through 10. But spiritually, I had to think, what level am I at? Can I offer them something different? So for me to look internally and had to turn off the fear, I said, if I get an opportunity, I will go forth. I won't say no any longer. I will say yes. So I grew. The next time someone asked me to teach the women, it was for on a retreat. I said yes. And by the time the retreat was over, not only did I see that I have grown, but people told me that I challenged them and they were stronger in their faith. And I was even pushed them to grow even further. So that was an exciting moment for me personally. I said, I should never say what I can't do. With the power of God behind me and walking in my purpose, I can achieve and grow as far as however He allows me to do. How far as He want me to grow, I say yes. And so that's a time where I felt like I made a major growth improvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Your story was great.
Thank you.
Third person, Robert. Okay, Robert. So sometimes we are our worst critics, right? Name a time where you recognize that you were being overly critical of yourself and you offered yourself some grace. Name a time you recognize that you were being overly critical of yourself and you offered yourself some grace.
Julia, can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Sure. Name a time where you recognize that you were being overly critical of yourself and you offered yourself some grace.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, future Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. Got some chips on the back. To be honest with you, I'm the most critical person in the world. Yes, I am very judgmental of you. I ain't gonna tell you, but I judge myself every single day. The process started 2 years ago. I never thought I would become a teacher. Never. I went through this journey of BCTR, and throughout the process, it's a summer program for teachers, but throughout the process, I always was down myself. I thought I couldn't perform. I thought I couldn't lesson plan. I thought I couldn't stand up and speak to students, let alone adults. And I proved myself wrong. The very following year, I got placed into one of the better schools in the city. And every single day, I always criticize every single thing I've done. And I didn't allow myself to understand that this is a process, right? I got to trust the process. We got to start somewhere, and you build and you learn, you find mentors and you grow. And even still, year 2, I'm criticizing every lesson, every performance, but grace. If it wasn't for grace, if it wasn't for His glory, His power, I wouldn't be teaching in the pandemic. And just understanding Him and let Him mold me in this process, I can recognize that I can teach to anyone, anybody. And I have the confidence right now that I'm one of the best teachers, period. Not Baltimore County, not Baltimore City, just in general. Not through my strength, but through His. And that's all I gotta say, y'all. So that's how confident I feel right now. Tabletop Master, on you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. That was great. That was really good. Glad you have given yourself some grace. You received grace from God so that you can have it for yourself. So that's awesome. Natasha, I just want to say, Natasha, this topic came out of the conversation we had on Sunday. So that's why I thought it was a good idea to talk about it a little bit today. And So I'm glad that you volunteered. So your question is, what would you consider your best quality? And is it a result of your personal growth? What would you consider your best quality? And is it a result of your personal growth?
Okay. Good evening, Toastmasters, future Toastmasters, distinguished guests, and of course, Madam Table Topics Master. What is my best quality, and do I attribute it to personal growth? So the top quality that comes to mind when you ask me that question is being able to turn a negative into a positive. You know, today with my class, we did a mindful moment, and I told them, I said, we watched a video about negative emotions and how we can trigger our happy. So we watched the video and we did this exercise, and I said, what color do you think of when you think of something that's sad? They said gray. I said, close your eyes and visualize gray. So do that for a second. Close your eyes, visualize gray. And I told them to think of their favorite color, Look at the center of that gray and continue to think about your favorite color until that gray spot turns into your favorite color. And then I told them that they could do the same thing with words whenever they have a negative feeling or a negative emotion, to think about happy. Trigger your happy. Think about something that is happy. Put that happy thought right into the middle of that negative and think about that happy thought until it grows. And so that did come to me from personal growth. I can't see my timer. That did come to me with personal growth because I had to tell myself that joy is what the fruit of the spirit gives me. It doesn't matter about my circumstance. It doesn't matter if there's a happy things happening around me, that my peace, my portion, my inheritance is joy. So I can pull joy out of anything. So what I do is do that. Trigger my happy each day. And I hope that that is something that I'm able to spread to others as well. Thank you.
Awesome. You all, that was great. That was so great. All of you guys did really wonderful. Thank you for participating in Table Topics this evening. I just want to share real quick my personal growth moment that just happened recently. Was just on Sunday after competing in my first Toastmasters competition. It was exciting. It was a little scary. It was much different from being in the club on Monday nights. But I had a bit of a moment. I felt like I had done better than I had done. And so I felt a little disappointed with where I placed, to be very honest and transparent about how I was feeling. But I then realized later on that day that that was a moment to grow. This is how you learn. This is how we become our best and better selves, and better at speaking publicly. This is the opportunity. It may not always turn out the way you want it to turn out, but you look at, like Natasha just said, you turn a negative into positive. And it wasn't necessarily a negative per se in this particular case. It was just a learning moment for me, for my own personal growth, because I needed to get over myself, one. And two, I needed to learn from what happened, what I needed to do differently so that the next time I compete, I can do even better. And that's what it's about. It's about doing better and progression and the process. So thank you all again for participating in Table Topics. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Juliet, you were awesome. Thank you for volunteering to compete. That is definitely not easy to do. And you not only showed up, you showed out. And you made all of us MSU proud. Olio, King, I just thank you all for just stepping out. That's what we do. We grow here and we want to speak in other platforms. We do have fun here. We're among people we're used to, but to speak to people that have not heard us, it just takes us to another level. It just helps us grow. So just thank you again. You did an awesome job leading the table topics portion, and you're a master. I'm telling you, if you keep going, I'm telling you, you will place first. So thank you again. So before I introduce the general evaluator, who will be introducing the evaluators and giving us an overall evaluation of the meeting, I'm going to give you one more trivia, if that's okay. I think it's two, but I think I'm going to share with you one. Actually, this is something that I didn't know. And so I'm going to share with you about Marie Van Britten Brown. And in 1966, she invented the security camera. So Marie was a nurse and inventor of the home security system in 1966, along with her husband, who was an electrician. She was inspired by how long it took for the police to arrive in her neighborhood when crime was at an all-time high in Queens, New York. That same year, they applied for the patent and it was granted. So that invention was the first closed circuit television security system, and it's the predecessor to the modern home security systems that we use today. So Brown's invention has led to the creation of many new home security systems that rely on video systems, remote door locks, quick emergency response actions. So these systems have become the leading security for homes and small businesses all over the world. Now, I don't know about you, but I have never heard that before. So I was fascinated when I read that. I just kept going. I was just thinking of what can I share with everyone that is different that someone else may not know. And that was definitely one that I had no idea. Now I use the security system here. So I just thought I had a little fun with that. And so now I'm going to introduce our general evaluator, who will take us through the remainder of the meeting. And that will be our general evaluator is Ms. Shauna Step Jones. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good evening, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. My name is Shauna Step Jones, and I will be your general evaluator for the evening. During the evaluations, I'm going to call up the evaluators for each of the speakers so that they can help the speakers glow and grow. And then I'm going to go into the reports by the all-counter grammarian as well as the timer. And then I'm going to give a general evaluation of our meeting. So first I want to call Mr. Robert Tyree to the mic so that he can evaluate our icebreaker speaker, Ms. Tabitha Anderson.
Can y'all hear me? I'm just joking. Don't start my time there. Hold on. Whew. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, future Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. My name is Robert Tyree, and I had the pleasure of evaluating Tabitha's Ice Baby icebreaker. Tabitha, I want to ask you a question real quick. Is it okay if I discuss some prior conversation we had before you create your speech? I'm going to do so anyway. So listen, I want to point out a couple of things about Tabitha. Tabitha, your speech honestly could have come back. You could have won.
No, nothing false. Sorry.
Okay, you could have won the hilarious or the contest that just passed. I'm sorry, you could have won a contest this past weekend with the speech you delivered today. That's how well polished, how amazing. No, I'm not. You know me. That's how well polished, right, and amazing it was. Tabitha did a whole lot of pre-work before she got to this level on Icebreaker. I know she had several conversations between her mentors. She even had her speech well done before the timeline. And she asked for feedback. She provided video of herself, and she asked for more feedback. And this is what you got, a polished speech. Tabitha, amazing job, because I know you personally, right? I know the feedback that we provided for you, and you made adjustments, right? And you nailed it. So I commend you for this icebreaker. Like Teresa said, you couldn't tell this was an icebreaker. I thought this was like you were the main event, and you showed out and showed up. I want to break down a couple of things. I'm trying to move a little bit fast. Tabitha, you had me because you had structure. Structure is so key for the contest speeches, right? You had introduction, you had simple points to follow, and a strong conclusion. I'm an ELA teacher, so I love that structure, right? From the jump, you had music, right? That was controlled. You said, hit me with the music, right?
Yeah,
And
maestro.
it stopped on point. I love it. Visual aids from the start. You had visual aids from the background. You got on visual aids. You had Toto, Candle, like you were just doing it. I'm like, Toto, it looked like Toto for real. And to me, that means you planned. That means you wrote your speech out, you went back and you articulated what you want. So for me, you were storytelling before you even open your mouth. You didn't need no intro. You were the intro. Your vocal variety, right? And your tone. I don't know if you noticed it, but like during the intense parts of the speech, you were very serious. And during the like the laughing moments, you were with your sound. The one thing I commend you on, right? Your structure was full circle, right? You were talking about the elements of the story of the Wizard of Oz, right? And you bring it back talking about your own knowledge, wisdom, and courage. Yeah, I'm snapping during the evaluation. You gave nuggets in your icebreaker, some life lesson, and some points. Your vocabulary was on point. So some of us might say your improper use of the English language or ebonics, right, was not right for the speech. No, it was on purpose, right? It fit your speech. It fit who you were. You could articulate, and you did so in your speech. And if you wanted to be real with us, you did so. The only thing I want to push you or challenge you to do, right, is I don't know if you noticed, but you did and this a lot, right? But there was one moment where I felt like that was perfect to do, right? And it was during the time you were talking about being a super mom. When you did like this, it was target. Yeah. I don't have, listen, I'm bald headed. I ain't got that. So other than that, Tabitha, my push for you, I need more speeches now. You just showed us how it's done. You got the blueprint. Now it's time to show others that you're more than a one-hit wonder. And I think you have 1,000 speeches in you. And I am truly proud to even hear this speech and even be along with the journey. I almost cry. I'm like, man, this is like super dope, right? And I told you it was dope when I heard the speech, but like, y'all nod your head, give me a thumbs up. Like that speech was fire. Am I right? So listen, I'll see you next year at the competition because you need to no, I'm being real. Take the same speech, right? And I want to see you next year in the competition. That's how we're doing it this year. All right, that's my time, guys. I'm probably over 3 minutes, but I needed it. No, thank you.
Thank you, Robert, for that energy, as always. Appreciate you. Next, I'm going to call Miss Trivia to the mic so that she can give an evaluation, her evaluation on Miss Eva.
Good evening, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. First of all, I want to say two things. One, Robert, I'm only going to do 1 minute because you took up all the other time. We're going to leave that right there. And then I want to say, I don't know how I got to evaluate Miss Eva, but it's really 1 minute worth of remarks because you can't say too much about Miss Eva. So Miss Eva, you excelled at making your audience laugh. I'm sitting there trying to hold back and not laugh, but everything you said just was so hilarious. And I don't know how the driver fit into your speech when you were driving down the street, and I just knew you were going to say something, but yeah, and I laughed the whole time. The other thing that you excelled at was just bringing it into the 20th century, bringing in your story with the 20th century. I could not stop crying when you talked about going to Owens Mills and picking up Dorothy and taking her to BWI. But the kicker was when you said she didn't come by herself. She brought her little 3 friends. And it reminded me of my kids back in the day where you pick them up and they have somebody and they're like, can you drop this person off? Tell me in advance. So that was just like hilarious. I could not stop laughing at that. Which you may want to work on, and I just had to make up some things. Initially, you were repeating, and I didn't know if that was a part of your story, but you repeated a couple times. And the other thing was you sat in your chair, but I felt like if you would have got up and moved around a little bit, it would have brought that wow factor to your story. Outside of that, it was nothing. I was hoping you would be intentional and give me some mess up so that I could put it in here. That didn't happen. But I know that we're in Toastmasters, so we have to come with our A game. And I couldn't give you anything to challenge you on because everything that you do so well. Even when you're not doing a humorous speech, your speech is humorous. Like, we can't get past that with you, Miss Eva. So overall, I gave you 5s and everything except for gestures. I gave you a 4. Had you stood up, that would have been a straight 5. And if you would have stood up, your vocal variety would have been a 5, so I gave you a 4. Outside of that, I'm done. Robert, thank you for taking the rest of my time.
I do thank you. And I did want to say that I did want to stand up, but the iPad would not work for me this week. So I had to come back down the dungeon, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Trivia and Miss Eva. Next, we have Mr. Olio Samuels. He's going to evaluate Dominic. Olio?
Dominic.
Sure.
How you doing, my good brother?
Doing good, man.
All right, next time you're going to tell me you're doing great. Good as enemy.
Okay, so I'm doing fantastic then.
That's what I like to hear. Delayed promises. That's what you just gave me just now. You just was playing. I'm not it. It's because it's the title of your speech. I like how you play with your words right there. So, all right. So I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna just keep it just go straight through it, and then I'll give you my actual more impressionistic at the end. All right. So 1, clarity. I gave you a 5. You enunciated very great. You pronounced your words. Nothing that you said took away from your speech. So for clarity, I gave you a 5. Sorry if I look a little dark. All right, vocal variety. I gave you a 2, and that stands for emergent. I felt the energy, which was delightful. So for vocal variety, to get to like a 3 or 4 or 5. However, you didn't use a lot of voice inflection. So sometimes you could have gave us energy and then took it down. And you could have made impact with the words that you said. So just like that, when you was giving your speech and you were saying different things that might have happened and they were lost, you can just kind of slow it down, speed it up, and then go up and down with your pitch. So just vocal variety, that'll be that. Eye contact, it was effective. That's what a 3 is. So a 4 and 5 will be to convey emotions with your eye contact. So I feel like it's Kesmet that we actually have this because I do the same thing. So for the eye contact, if we're seeing it, great. But to convey emotion, sometimes you can like look up at different areas, or you can even like play around with your eyes. That's going to help to increase conveying emotion with your speech. All right. Gestures, I gave you a 2 out of 5. This was because you were sitting down. If you could have got up, if you would have moved around a little bit, or maybe if you had put your hands in front of your face a little bit, or sat up a little bit so I could maybe see your hands like this, then I could get some sort of gestures, which I couldn't, because, if you backed up a little bit or something, I probably could, get more with the gestures. Audience awareness. I felt you were absolutely aware of your audience. I gave you a 4 for that. A 5 for that would actually be when you would be incorporating the gestures, the eye contact, and inflection, everything like that. Comfort, I gave you a 5. Felt like you were completely comfortable with your speech. Interest, give you a 5. Very neat speech. Your speech was very clear. Did you accomplish the goal which you actually sent? I feel that you did excel as that, which was using the story. And I believe you did use a story which was as needed to intend it or enhance your speech. That was great with that. So I gave you kind of goals, growth. All right, so here's one thing I said, to challenge yourself. You could challenge yourself by just mastering your speech to the point where if you practice and practice and practice, that's why I said it was like that, because I do the same thing. Sometimes we know how gifted we are, and we know, but the talent comes from working on the craft. So I feel like if you work on the craft, right, learn your speech so that you feel like you can't get it wrong. Then after that, go in the mirror or on the camera and record your speech so you can see the different things you do with your hands, different things that you may do with your eyes, and then rewatch it and then start looking at what can enhance, add value to your speech, as so as the voice inflection, or maybe we're having somebody else listening. So that's what I do to challenge you on that. So overall, brother, you did an amazing speech. I actually felt like, and the only thing I didn't give you a grade, I forgot to tell you, was impact. Impact, you got 5. Pace was not needed for your speech. And I don't want to talk too long, because I think I already did. So I'm sorry. You did a wonderful speech, brother. Your format was phenomenal. Keep that same format. Speaking wise, you're there. You're 100% there. Now you're just getting the non-verbals to add to your speech. All right.
Sure. Yes,
all right,
sir.
brother. Great.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Olio. Great evaluation. I'm going to now call for the reports, and we're going to start with Miss Natasha Brown, our counter grammarian.
Dr. Kimberly Reeves.
I'm the all-counter and grammarian today.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Dr. Kimberly Reeves. Let me do that over. Next, we're going to call for our all-counter grammarian, Dr. Kimberly Reeves.
Good evening, everybody. Hello again. I always have difficulty with this role because I have a different perspective about what the proper use of vernacular is. Miss Eva, I believe that much of what you said was intentional, but here is what I reported. You said The Wizard of Oz is one of my favorite pictures. I think you meant to say favorite movies. You said, once, gonna, once. You said, this is no more hot air balloon. I think you meant to say there aren't any more hot air balloons. You said 10 men just need a heart. The 10 men just needs a heart. You said mine do. It's mine does, of course. Teresa, I have one so. Dominic, you said promises has been delayed. It's promises have. That's what I think you meant to say. Have you ever sit back and thought about? Have you ever sat back and thought about is what I think you meant. You said because of their disbelief, it took them 40 years to get it. I believe you wanted to say because of their disbelief, it took them blah, blah, blah. You said you would have rather have went back to being. And I think you probably meant to say would have rather gone back to. You said throughout their journey, and I think you meant to say throughout their journey. You said still had doubts on why they should enter the promised land. And I think a better use for that would be, a better way to say that would be still had doubts about. Tabitha, woo, Lord. Tabitha, I so appreciate, and I know this is not my part, but I appreciate the music you chose, your props, your dance, all of that. I got 2 so's and 1 from you. Excellent, excellent, excellent job. Excellent.
Wow, thank you.
Juliet, 2 ums. You started off with no so's, and then I caught you 6 so's. And who's next? Oh, Olio. Olio, you said it was just ways we were growing up. And I think you wanted to say, I think you were Russian. I think you wanted to say it was just the way that we grew up. Angela, you said 1 so. And then at the end you said, however he want me to do. And I think you meant whatever he wants me to do. Robert, I can recognize, I recognize. Natasha, 2 so's. Shauna, no ums. Trivia, one and that's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Reeves.
Welcome.
Now we're going to call for our timer report by Mr. Ryan Dunstan.
Yes, good evening. All right, so I'm going to start with Miss Red Bottoms. So 6 minutes and 21 seconds, which was great. Dom, 5 minutes and 28 seconds, which was also great. Tabitha, 6 minutes and 10 seconds. I have Olio at 2 minutes and 2 seconds for table topics. I have Angela at 1 minute and 42 seconds. I have Rob at 2 minutes exactly. Great job, Rob. I have Tasha at 1 minute and 50 seconds. Awesome job. I have Juliet at 1 minute and 15 seconds. I wasn't quite sure if Juliet was giving a table topic. I just noticed that she had made the similar, started to give her time where she overcame as well. So I wasn't sure. So I just went on ahead and timed it anyway.
All right. Okay. Did you do the evaluators? I'm sorry.
I did not do the evaluators. I'm so sorry.
Okay, no problem. Well, we know who took more than 2 minutes. It's like, I'm just messing with you, Robert.
Oh, he said I took 2 minutes. Thanks, Ryan.
Well, that was your table topics. We talk about your evaluation. No, but it's okay. So thank you, Ryan, for your report. So now I'm gonna back on me and I'm gonna go into the general evaluation of the meeting. So we started our meeting after a hiatus. We came back, we started celebrating our winners. Huge congratulations again to Olio, King, and Miss Juliet Jones. Then we welcomed our Toastmaster of the evening, Miss Arisa. And she gave us trivia, different Black history trivia, where we learned why Black History Month is celebrated in February. We learned about Shirley Chisholm. We also learned about a Black inventor. I didn't catch her name, but I did not know about her either, Sarisa. So thank you for those fun facts and just allowing us to celebrate our history and recognize who came before us so that we know where we're going. So then we went into our speeches. We started off with Miss Eva, who took us over East Baltimore, added a HQL license and a handgun to a classic fairy tale Wizard of Oz in her humorous speech. We love you, Miss Red Bottoms, keeping it so Baltimore. Then it was followed by Dominique Staten, a little more serious, but challenging us to stop delaying our promise. Requested to control you. I'm sorry, Olio. You can. Okay, Olio. I don't know if y'all couldn't see me or not, but so then back to Dom. Dom, you challenged us to stop delaying our promises by doing these three things. 1, believe in your promise. 2, trust the process. And 3, stay connected to the source. And our final speech by Miss Tabitha Anderson, who gave us her icebreaker speech. She took us back to the Wizard of Oz and shared her treasures as a single mom, which I want to let you know, Tabitha, resonates near and dear to my heart because I'm a fellow super mom like you. Fantastic job, honey. I really enjoyed your speech. Then we went into our table topics, which was led by one of our champions. Again, we're going to shout her out one more time, Miss Juliet Jones. Congratulations again. Where we focus on personal growth. And Olio, he emphasized the importance of meeting people where they're at. Sometimes you gotta meet them where they at. You can't expect them to meet you where you at, but you're gonna have to meet them where they're at. So we thank you for that. And then it was followed by Angela, Robert, and Natasha, who also shared some very transparent moments of personal growth. So overall, I felt like our meeting was really good. It was good, especially coming off of that break. You know, we brought the energy back, we brought the love back. We're always engaging each other, always giving each other positive affirmations. That's one thing that I love about this Toastmasters group. One thing that I tried to think of some things that we could work on, and I only thing I could think of was making sure that we cut on our camera, because when we cut on our camera, it creates a more engaging environment for us all. So that's the only thing I could think of. I'm fresh off of a vacation and I'm here. Maybe I could share something, some personal growth. I don't know if we had a theme tonight, but I'll share. So after 10 years at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, I am walking out on faith and I am leaving. I want to hopefully provide some of our members, our community in general, some of the knowledge that I learned at the patent office, how to get a patent, how to search for your inventions, how to get a trademark, understanding the classes that you're registering your trademark in. So March 26th will be my last day as a patent examiner. I'm out, deuces, as Miss Natasha Brown said, and personal growth. So one thing about me, I've always taught that you don't tell everything because you don't want people wishing bad on things that you got going on. But Miss Natasha, as y'all see her roll her eyes and sip on that straw, she's definitely challenging me to, let you all know and share my victories. But I just received $250,000 in pre-seed funding to develop my dryer for wigs and bundles. So I'm out. I'm leaving the patent office. Big homie got me. Big homie is God. And so I'm excited, y'all. I'm so excited. And that's all I got for y'all. I'm gonna turn this back on over to Natasha Brown, our president.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Y'all.
Maybe not all.
Somebody was saying something. What's happening? We still in a meeting. You're right. Okay. Hello, welcome back, you all. We had a wonderful meeting. I'm so excited to hear all of the amazing news. I'm about to burst inside. It was like just seeing this meeting go like it did, hearing the amazing things that you all have going on, seeing the love in the chat. Like I can't even keep up because there's new messages coming on of congratulations and you go girl and yes and all of that. Great job. Like this is love. This is what it's about. This is what we're here for. We are all doing our jobs, okay? All right, so it's actually not even my time, but I'm so glad that she was like, I want to say something. And I did. Okay, thank you, Lord. So we're actually going to go into our educational corner with our VPE, Mr. Robert Tyree.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, future Toastmasters, distinguished guests. I'm going to be quick. Just want to do a quick visualization activity. Dom, you inspired me. I don't know if you were in my notes today, but as I was creating my mini speech, the title of this section is going to be called, How Do You See Yourself? I'm going to repeat, how do you see yourself? All right, so I want you guys all to close your eyes, if you can, please. I want you just to visualize what I'm saying to you right now. It's your big day. You're about to speak in front of millions of people, not online, but in person, though. COVID's over, y'all. But a couple of things happen. You've arrived late to the place. You did not follow your plan that you put in place for preparing for your speech. Your friends and family did not show up on this important day. And you know for sure that you are going to mess up a couple times. Natasha, how do you feel?
So I lost it because when you called my name, I like got scared and I felt like the police sirens were coming to get me.
That's cool. That's cool. Ryan, how did you feel, sir?
I'm so sorry. I was working and listening at the same time. So what did you ask me? I'm sorry.
How did you feel after hearing those? I'm gonna call somebody else because
No. Please. I would love to participate.
So I was going over the sentences. How did you feel after learning that you are about to do a speech? You're late. You're telling yourself that you're gonna mess up over and over again. How did you feel?
I was a bit nervous. I was, just because I wanted to do a great job. I had a bunch of butterflies, and normally I normally sweat when I'm nervous anyway. But it was. I wouldn't say it was nerve-wracking, but I will say that I've kind of gotten comfortable to being uncomfortable. So,
Okay.
When I had to give the speech, that's probably the reason why the most of you stated that I didn't look nervous.
Ryan, I'm sorry. Boy, I'm talking about Ryan, you got it. My guy got it.
Did I get that wrong? Did I not?
Yes, you did.
When I gave my first speech?
No, I was talking about the segment, Ryan. It's like,
Lord have mercy. Look, you caught me off guard.
okay. All right, let's try it again, though. Close your eyes again. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to try to put a different twist, all right?
All right.
It's your big stage. This is your
different
day.
Scenario.
Thank you.
Different scenario.
New scenario.
Okay. All right, we're going. All right, my eyes is closed. Go ahead.
This is your big day. You have the opportunity to speak on the same platform as your favorite speakers. You got Tony Robbins, you got E.T., you got Brian Oles, and it's you. All right. You've arrived early and you ran through your speech several times. You got it. You've been practicing all week and you're ready to kill it. You know for sure that you're one of the best in your field to speak about this topic. And you truly believe in yourself. Olio, how do you feel?
I feel like I'm not going to get second place. But no, I feel confident.
Okay, that wasn't a shot, Olio. Fred, how you feel, Fred?
To let all right to
you good? Bro, go ahead.
Just to answer the question in a more fashionable way, I would feel a lot more confident. I would feel like I've mastered something because now that I've actually taken the time to master my craft and give this speech that only I know that I could give to the best of my ability, I wouldn't feel as much nervousness. I wouldn't feel like I'm going to mess up. I wouldn't feel resentful or regret that I didn't give my best because I know I've put the energy in it. That when I get, all I can do is all I can do, and all I can do is enough, just as long as it's all I can do. And being that I would just do my best, I would feel like a success, and whatever the results are would just be the results. And I can't control the results, but I can control my effort.
Oh man, listen, you said enough, sir. So look, the takeaway, right, is you control how you feel by checking your vision. All right. I've heard this often, but fear and excitement are the same feeling, but your body really doesn't know the difference, right? It's your thoughts, right? You could literally be in a storm and start to panic and honestly miss that safety is right across the ocean. All right. So once again, y'all, how do you see yourself? And that is my time, y'all.
Thank you so much. How do you see yourself? Listen, I'm called to action. Every time somebody open up their mouth, they're inspiring, moving, and getting us to go and flow. I love it. I love it. We are all on one accord tonight, as always. We're going to go ahead and break out a couple different things that are going to happen. People are excited about next week. They want to do things. All right, thank you for coming. Amazing speech. We got some people that want to do speeches. Some people want to evaluate. Some people want to do things. And I want you all to put that in the chat for a minute because I want Miss Eva to come up and talk to us about the treasure portion, about dues and things like that. And then we'll have a breakout session for tabletop.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you, Madam President. This is the part of the meeting where my name changes. It's Miss Red Bottoms. To all members out there, it is time for us to ante up and renew. I think we have about 3 or 4 people thus far that have renewed. It's only $50 for 6 months by the end of the month, but you can start paying now. If you are a new member and you would like to join, February, because we're at the end of the month, would be $15. If you start in March for the renewals, it's $7.50. New members, $20 plus $20. So it would be total for the new members coming in $40. And then we pay $5 dues. It's $45 plus the 20. And we pay $5 dues, and that helps us with our Zoom calls as well as token gifts that we like to give out. So you can look on the left side of your registration form if you need to have any more information. We do have Cash App, if you notice on there, as well as PayPal, or you can send me a check, or I am a treasurer and I do drive by and will pick up cash. Any questions, just let me know. I am Miss Red Bottoms. Turn it back over to you, Madam President.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and put our Vice President of Education as well as membership in the breakout room with our guests. Before I do that, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us what brought you here today, and if you enjoyed the part of the meeting you were able to see. Well, I won't call you out, but just in case you do.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicole Mosby Taylor, and I am with, you said, tell me what you told me to
Tell us what brought you here today. Did you enjoy the meeting, and will you return?
I did enjoy the meeting. What brought me here today is with my businesses, I'm doing more public speaking, and I just want to perfect my craft. So I came, I've been here before, and I didn't join because of time, but I feel like this is the right time for me. You know, with my business, it will help me to get to the next level. So I'm definitely looking forward to working with each of you.
I am so excited, and I noticed that your email had like radio in it. So are you on the radio? Do you have radio?
I do have an internet radio show called Empowered Women in Business International.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Got some welcomes going on in the chat, and I'm gonna go ahead and slide you in the breakout room with Trivia, our Vice President of Membership, as well as Robert, our VP of Education.
Awesome, thank you, and thank everyone for their welcomes.
Okay, the breakout rooms are open. Nicole reached out in the inbox one day, and actually recently, and she's like, I'm interested in joining Toastmasters. What's up? She's here and she is joining. She said, we went over the fact that we are having renewals, and she said, no, I want to start now. So we want to welcome her into the fold, I'm sure, next Monday. Okay, so I saw some things going up in the chat. I'm going to pass it over to Shauna so that we can continue to figure out who would like to be on the agenda next week.
Yes, so we need some of our members to volunteer. It helps me out when creating the agenda if we all volunteer. So I seen Dr. Reeves, she's volunteered as table topics. Any speeches, any speakers? It's next week. Anybody, are there any speakers? We definitely need a Toastmaster, and we need a general evaluator.
I'm general evaluator.
General evaluator. Eva, I see you, Angela. And thanks, Angela, for the evaluator. Timer, Olio. Okay, this is how I like it. When it's just, when y'all just saying me. Olio.
So while I'm Shauna, while you getting that together, I want everyone to look at my screen, my virtual background real quick.